It's early this morning and gotta get up, gonna get the car chipped, the daily, the Jovi, the AFN. So yeah, one, just give it a health check, and two, just get a little bit more out of it so it's easier to overtake. 110 really isn't a lot. It does have a nice bit of torque at 174 as standard if it has that, which is same as a VR. Just lacks a bit of mid-range punch, needs a little bit more. So I've been recommended these guys, DD Motorsport, which are only 2k away from where I am at the moment. We go do a service, quick oil filter, oil change, air filter, fuel filter on it, and take it down there and let's see what it gets on the road. The birds are singing, but just before the remap, it needed a service anyway, so we just replaced quickly the air filter, the oil filter, the oil, and put a brand new fuel filter. And the only difference on this one is this pipe. So basically what happens is originally, so it goes from normally it goes from around 60mm, and then it drops down massively. So what I've done is I've ordered a special SFS pipe down the bottom, which then has a sleeve on it. Turn the light on, see if you can see. Then has a sleeve on it, which is tapered, so it goes literally 60mm all the way to the mouth of the turbo. So it's got a lot more volume, and also that tight angle where it really shrinks down on the standard one is a lot larger. So yeah, I mean, when I did that, I did notice it picked up a lot better. So that's the only change that's had done to it. So we'll see what it puts down standard. This car, when I got it, was pretty sick. All the vacuum pipes were frayed. The N75 valve was glued on, it was broken. And it just lacked just power, really. It felt like it had 80, not 110. But changing the vacuum pipes did help it a bit. Also, with my reader tool, I checked the airflow meter because they're quite problematic. But this one had the right flow and stuff. It was just the N75 valve and the vacuum pipes, so replace all that, as well as the timing. A lot of people don't do the timing properly on these. They mark it up and they get the timing on. But with these, you actually have to remove the rocker cover, put a plate at the back, and then actually loosen the cam pulley, and then put the belt on, tension the belt once the belt has been tensioned, and then also have a locking tool for the pump. And then once that's been done, then you lock up the cam pulley, remove the belt, turn it twice, done. And then you still have to set up the pump with Vacrom, and that's it. And so that's all been done, and let's see if it's what it puts down. So this is the graph from this morning's rolling road session. Here I'm just going to explain quickly and to kind of get a perception of how a car can actually feel or perform by looking at a graph. First thing is you've got the base run. It shows obviously the horsepower, the wheel horsepower at the peak that horsepower was produced at, the torque and the point of peak of the torque. And then the final run, which was a smoke-free run, of 145, the wheel horsepower, the peak. As you can see, the peaks are the same because obviously we haven't changed any hardware. So the peaks shouldn't really change. We don't change hardware and you just map a boosted car. The shapes should actually imitate themselves just further up. So this is the case here. So we've gone up about 30 horsepower with the same peak point, and we've gone up 85 odd new meters, and again at more or less the same point in the thingy. So that only tells half the story. Where the real difference is and how you can imagine the car's actually going to perform, or the difference in the performance, is by certain points on the graph. So here we have the peak torque standard, which was produced at 2350, and that was 230 Newton meters. Now, after the remap, it actually produced the same 230 Newton meters, but at a lot lower 1800 RPM. So that's a 600 or 500 RPM drop, and you can tell, well, that's going to be how the car's going to perform. It's going to feel a lot more livelier, lower down, a lot more responsive on the throttle. It's going to accelerate, in gear, lower down, a lot better. So, just from that point there, you're producing basically the maximum torque before a lot earlier in the RPM range with this map. Obviously, then you've got the biggest jump, which is at more or less at the same point. Now, it's a shame we don't have a boost trace on this graph here, because as you can see, the standard map would kind of go up and then would actually dip, then level out and then tail off. Now, I am assuming this massive ramp up of torque, it's almost linear in the way it comes up, it's so fat, is maybe potentially to do with the intake pipe, as well as maybe the turbo's a bit old and the variable vanes are sticking slightly. But I think that's more to do with probably the intake pipe, and it then trying to catch the boost, the N75, as it overboosts and then drops down and then kind of stabilizes the N75. It's a shame, like I said, we don't have the boost map, the boost trace on here. But after when it was mapped, obviously because it's a lot, the boost pressure's been increased, it's a lot easier for the N75 to then catch it. It still does have a slight dip, but it just comes down. I mean, what this kind of also shows you that this at the engine, literally the turbo has just run out of flow on the exhaust side, because it comes up, it doesn't really hold it at all. It comes on pretty early as well, and just kind of tails off. A 2.5 inch elbow and downpipe could actually extend this, not have this little dip, and actually kind of fill it in a little bit, which would help with the horsepower here. But the turbo basically is very small on these. It is quite a small turbo. The next point of interest again is the horsepower. It produced 114.7 horsepower at 4001. Now, after the remap, it produced the same horsepower, 114.7 horsepower at 2.7 or 2.6 even. So again, you can see, the car's a lot more aggressive lower down. It produced basically what it produced maximum at 4.1. It now produces the same horsepower at 2.6. So again, that can give you some kind of idea how the car's going to perform. How responsive it's going to be in gear, acceleration and stuff. And that's mainly the reason for doing this anyway. It was just to, give the car a bit more punch, mid-range, overtaking and stuff. And from about 3,500 RPM, at 3,500 RPM, we've reached 140, and it basically, peaks up to 145 and still holds over 140 at 4.5. So for 1,000 RPM, you're over 140 horsepower with a small fluctuation of, 5 back down to maybe 2. So it kind of holds it's quite nice. It's very linear up there. Again, if the downpipe was bigger,
you would maybe still climb a little bit, or this would actually be pretty flat, even more flat. You know, maybe you'd gain 2 or 3 horsepower at the top here with better flow on the exhaust side. But you're still limited by the turbo, but obviously the downpipe is so small, and so is the cat. You know, if you can improve that, it does help kind of in this kind of area and in the mid-range as well. You can kind of understand here a little bit of an understanding of how the car would actually feel by looking at the graph. You know, you generally want graphs that are kind of curved this way outwards than they are curved inwards, because it's just got more torque and just it's nice. It's not all about the peak numbers. You know, there's no point having 400 and then the curve starts like down here and then kind of, you know, curves up like this. No, you want it to kind of curve round on the outside. It just makes for a nicer drive car and a lot quicker car actually, in all kind of, you know, on the quarter mile, just street driving basically, you know, point to point driving, you know, overtaking. It's just a nicer feel having a curve that is this way around instead of, you know, that way around. Okay, thanks for watching, subscribe, and watch out for more videos.